Charlotte Appleby laid down her needle and flexed her fingers. The handkerchief was almost finished, her uncle's initials intertwined, and beneath them a tiny red hand, the symbol of a baronet. As if it helped Uncle Neville blow his nose better to know he was a baronet. She snorted under her breath. The back of her neck prickled, as if someone had moved noiselessly to stand behind her. Charlotte turned her head sharply. No one stood behind her. The corner of the parlour was empty. Charlotte rubbed her nape, where the skin still prickled faintly. A draught, that's all it had been. She flicked a glance at her aunt and cousin, seated beside the fireplace. Lady Westcott thumbed through the Ladies' Monthly Museum, barely glancing at the pages, her lips pursed. Anthea was bent over the dish of sugar plums, choosing the plumpest. Charlotte rethreaded her needle and started on the border around her uncle's monogram. Lady Westcott tossed the magazine aside. "Charity!" Charlotte lifted her head. "Yes, Aunt." "Fetch my shawl, the cashmere with the pink border." Charlotte obediently laid down her sewing. She let herself out of the parlour and climbed the sweeping oak staircase. Calm, she told herself, calm. But her resentment was sharp today. She almost tasted it on her tongue, as bitter as bile, and the tight knot of anger in her chest only seemed to grow larger with each step she took. She knew why. Today was her birthday, her 25th, and instead of everything she'd dreamed of, she had life at Westcott Hall. Charlotte pushed her spectacles firmly up her nose. What she had was better than many others had. A roof over her head, food in her stomach. She was lucky. Lady Westcott's maid, Lytton, was laying out evening clothes in her aunt's dressing-room. A gown of puce silk, a turban crowned with curling ostrich plumes, satin slippers. Beneath the cloying scent of Lady Westcott's perfume was the sour undertone of her perspiration. "My aunt would like her cashmere shawl, Lytton, the one with the pink border." Lytton nodded and turned to the clothes-press. For a moment they were both framed in the cheval mirror. Lytton, dressed in a gown of kerseymere that was in the latest fashion, herself in one of Anthea's cast-offs, taken in at the waist and let down at the hem. Alongside the maid, she looked shabby, her wrists protruding from cuffs that were slightly too short. "I look more like a servant than Lytton does." "Here you are, Miss Charity." Charlotte took the proffered shawl. "Thank you." She let herself out of the dressing-room. I could run away and become a lady's maid. At least she'd be paid for her drudgery, and no one would call her Charity. Charlotte tried to imagine what it would be like.
"Appleby, this petticoat is ripped. Darn it."
"Appleby, my hair needs to be curled again. Make sure you do a better job this time."
"Fetch my tooth-powder, Appleby, and be quick about it."
She pulled a face. No, Lytton's job wasn't to be envied. Charlotte went back downstairs, her hand gliding over the cool oak balustrade. As she stepped onto the half-landing, the hairs on the back of her neck stood upright. She jerked a glance behind her. The staircase rose in empty, curving flights. Charlotte rubbed her neck. Idiot. She walked briskly down the last half-flight, pushed her spectacles up her nose again, and opened the door to the parlour. "Your shawl, Aunt." Lady Westcott took the shawl without a word of thanks. Charlotte gritted her teeth. "I am grateful to my aunt and uncle for giving me a home," she told herself. "Grateful."